it's John McCabe. Welcome to the show. Hey, welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And we do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, in as little as 15 hours worth of effort, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, I'm excited for today's show because I have the opportunity to bring one of my coaches and mentors to share with you what it takes to build and grow a 6- and 7-figure coaching and consulting business by accelerating your authority. Now, Ed was first brought to my attention when he stepped in to help Mike Koenigs, another coach and mentor of mine, as Mike was going through some medical challenges at the time. Now, it's just as though Ed appeared and was an overnight success, which is how we tend to see so many people who are put in the national and international spotlight. But what we fail to see are the years of struggle, the learning, the growth and drive that gets a person to that point in their life. Now, anyone who has spent a significant amount of time in the cockpit of an F-18 fighter jet knows the value of strategy and the power of focus. That's just what Ed had after retiring his military career and entered into the life of an entrepreneur. Things don't come easy for a lot of us, but having a solid plan, focusing and executing that plan is what it takes to take you to that next level and accelerate your authority in your marketplace. Now, Ed Rush is a speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, and successful business consultant who has effectively taken the principles that he learned flying faster than the speed of light and translated them into good business. Now, Ed has helped tens of thousands of event attendees and clients get more done in less time with less waste, not only giving his clients the insights they need to grow, but gifting them the power of implementation to change their businesses for better and for good. Now, Ed is a sought-after speaker, bringing his dynamic gifts to the stage in engaging ways that make his clients look great. Ed also serves as a secret weapon with over 300 companies who have brought him in to help them increase their profit and decrease their waste, consulting them with honesty and effectiveness. So don't go away, because after this short video about Ed, I'll be right back with the man himself, my coach, my mentor, and my good friend, Ed Rush.
All right, if you are motivated, dedicated, ready to be here today, would you please say, hoorah! Hoorah!
I just want to thank Ed for coming to our conference. A great challenge that I always judge for our keynote speakers is everyone engaged. Are they on their phones, or are they on their iPads or PCs? And every single person in that room was engaged, really got home, and he hit a home run today.
It's at this point that my brain begins to start screaming at me, roll right, you're gonna die. And it's everything I can do not to take my control stick and move it violently to the right. Which incidentally would have been taking a perfectly good airplane and turning it directly into the Pacific Ocean. What was happening in my head, what was happening in reality were completely different. In fact, what was happening in my head was I was in a hard turn to the left. At any moment, I thought I was gonna see the Pacific Ocean. That was gonna be the end of my life. I was gonna hit the ocean in a $40 million airplane, and that's it. And so what do you do? What do you do when you have 10 seconds to live?
Be ready to participate, enjoy the enthusiasm and passion that he has behind what he's sharing with us, and learn from his success.
It actually comes down to the individual. People talk about corporate change. People talk about corporate culture. Do you know where all that stuff starts? People, real life people. Something like 40% of the Forbes 400 entrepreneurs never went to college. Do you know why they're so great? I don't know, just keep pushing the button. Like, seriously. And the rest of us are like, but I deserve to make money because I graduated magna cum laude. And you're like, no, you don't. You didn't push the button. You know? Push the button. Push the blue button, okay? And so that's the point. Hey, if it works and it's making you money, go do more of that. Instead of saying, oh gosh, I should be nice and I should help this person out because karma, and I'm gonna put karma into this person and it's gonna come back, which, by the way, sometimes that works. Most of the time it doesn't. More times than not, what you ought to do is spend time with your family, put the karma there, and charge what you're worth. Are you with me on that? If you are, say hoorah. Hoorah!
Hey, thanks for joining me on today's show, Business Strategy Tuesday, where I interview various experts and strategies that can help you grow your business and accelerate your authority, something today's guest knows quite a bit about. Getting the opportunity to spend time with Ed Rush, my coach, mentor, and someone I call a friend is always an honor. I will be forever grateful that he agreed to be a guest on the first season of the John A. McCabe Show and share with you some of his knowledge and expertise and what it takes to build and grow a 6- and 7-figure coaching consulting business. Now, over 320 individuals and companies from around the world have brought in Ed to help them dramatically increase profitability while simultaneously reducing waste. Clients range from small startups to multi-million-dollar multinational organizations and include CEOs, founders, political leaders, sports teams, national universities, Hollywood stars, and one of the contestants on season 1 of Donald Trump's The Apprentice. And what they all have in common was a core desire to grow their profitability, create products and services that make the planet a better place, grow a fun culture that inspires excellence, and create a new abundance of personal time, space, and freedom. So please help me in welcoming our featured guest today with likes, loves, shares, and a virtual flurry of thumbs up and heart icons across the screen for my good friend and guest today, Ed Rush. How you doing, Ed?
John McCabe, what's up, man? Hey, I just been feverishly pushing hearts and likes on Facebook.
Oh, so you're the one that keeps hitting the heart button.
By the way, I like the setup here because I can talk to you this way, but then I can also talk to you this way, and I feel like I can just sort of like the picture of me is so much bigger than you, which isn't normal for us in real life. So it's like I could be like, "Hey, John, just want to let you know you need to get yourself in gear right now."
Thanks,
so,
Ed. Thanks for that coaching advice. So how are things down in San Diego?
Oh man, it's going great, dude. I'm just glad to be. I'm like, I got the invitation, and I'm like, I feel like I did it. You know, I got the invitation for the John A. McCabe Show, and so
yeah, first season.
It's all for season 1, man. Come on.
Excellent.
I have my U.S. Constitution mug right here that I'm drinking from in honor of all the things that are happening in America right now.
I was just going to say, you guys are ramping up for the big election here in a couple of weeks.
I'm trying to remember the good things, man. This Abraham Lincoln says, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth." So I'm just remembering the promises of good old Abe about 140 years ago. So,
well, it looks like the show's just going to go downhill because Andy Lockwood just joined us. So it's nothing but downhill from here. So
no, actually, he asked, "Did I miss anything important?" And Andy, you could ask that question an hour from now, and the answer would probably still be no. So.
So Ed, first thing I want to do before we get too far into the interview is what I call a speed round of questions.
Yeah, got it.
I don't know if you watched the show before, but basically I whip through 10 questions just so that people get to know you a little bit better. It's nothing that you have to study for, so don't worry. I'm not going to grade you at the end of it. But as always, I'd like everyone else to play along with Ed. So you can just type in your answer to the questions in the Facebook comment or Facebook chat, and we'll just review them after the series of questions. So you all set, Ed?
I'm ready to go. You said I have 20 minutes for each question, right?
Yeah, something like 2 seconds.
Sure I got that
so
right. Okay.
The first one is name a book that impacted your life the most.
Yeah, the easy one right there, Bible, man. Every morning, just about every night.
That is in the top 2 books of all my guests.
Okay, got it.
When you were a young girl or boy, who was your celebrity crush?
Oh gosh, I watched a lot of Star Wars, so probably Carrie Fisher back in the old days, you know.
Have you gone to Comic-Con and actually seen her?
Dressed in the no.
No. What is a book, a podcast, or a show that you're into right now?
So I've been listening to the Glenn Beck show recently. Let's see, another book that I'm reading. What am I reading? A book called Pendulum by Roy Williams, really good book. Okay. And then there's another book called Wild at Heart, which is super influential for me, by a guy named John Eldredge. There's 3.
Excellent. So do you currently work with any coaches, and if so, who are they?
I've been in a strategic coach with Dan Sullivan, super blown away from that. I've got a personal coach that I work with like as a mentor. Guy's name is Melvin Pillay that I work with who actually came to my event that I did this last September and spoke, and that's it.
Okay, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Star Wars.
And
that's probably one of the reasons I ended up as a fighter pilot, actually.
Okay, and other than the masterminds that you host, are you involved in any masterminds?
The one that I mentioned, so I work with Dan Sullivan, who I not only consider a great coach, but a super good friend too. Probably one of the brightest people I know on planet Earth.
Okay, so name the person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
I'd like to meet myself 10 years ago and give myself advice on all of the mistakes that I made and how to avoid them.
Excellent. So what's your favorite type of vacation, beach or adventure tour?
A little bit of both. I usually go hiking or cinema like the old sort of sit by the pool and let the lifeguards watch the kids, but I do like the mountains and hiking, so a little bit of both.
What's the best business advice you ever received?
Fail fast next.
And this next one is a two-parter. It's the last question. What is your favorite? Is it water, beer, or wine? And pizza, wings, or salad? So not what you consume on a regular basis, but what's your favorite out of those items?
I like beer. It doesn't do great things for my body. I love pizza. It doesn't do great things for my body, but those two things probably I'd go for on a Friday night.
Excellent. Thanks, Ed. So everyone give Ed a round of applause by hitting that like button, love button, and be sure to share this feed with all your friends on Facebook, post it in your groups as well as on your Facebook business pages. So I'm just going to do a quick peek here, Ed, before we get started and just see if who's joining us and just do some shout outs. I see Russell Tober's joined us. Nobby's in the house.
There's another button up here, by the way, that says share, and that's the button that I pushed also. So click that button. And
yes, definitely share this as well. Nobby's in the house, says hi. Andy Lockwood, of course. Sorry he's late. Gail Turner Brown's in the house as well. Andy Lockwood says every answer equals McCabe or McCabe's book. Very nice, Andy. Andy's my biggest fan.
Yeah.
Actually, my second biggest. My mom's my biggest fan.
Too, so that's,
All right, so if you have any questions or comments for Ed as we're going through the show, just type them in the chat. And what I'll do is we'll try to get to your questions throughout the show. And if we can't answer them during the show, what we'll do is we'll comment on them after the show has already been concluded. Just tag one of us in the question itself, and we'll do our best to get to it. So if you're just joining us, I'm speaking with my coach, mentor, and friend, Ed Rush. He's a speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, and successful business consultant who is effectively taking the principles that he learned flying F-18 fighter jets faster than the speed of sound and translated them into good business. Ed's helped tens of thousands of event attendees and clients get more done in less time with less waste, not only giving clients the insights they need to grow, but gifting them the power of implementation to change their business for good and for better. Ed is a sought-after speaker, bringing dynamic gifts to the stage in engaging ways and make his clients look great. Ed also serves as the secret weapon that over 300 companies have brought in to help them increase their profit and decrease waste, consulting them with honesty and effectiveness. So as I mentioned, just type in chat any questions you may have. But Ed, before I make you sound good?
Well, shoot. So I need to add to my bio how good I am at writing bios.
Exactly. Hopefully people don't think that I actually wrote that.
If only half of those things are true.
Yeah.
So
you can just make stuff up. So Ed, before we really get into how to grow a 6- and 7-figure business, let's go back to after you retired from the military. Obviously, there was a transitional period where you honed your craft. But what were some of the principles that you took from your military career that you implemented into your first consulting business? And what was that? Great. And what was that business?
All right. So the first time I've ever taught this, by the way, the first key for building a 6- or 7-figure consulting business is to build a 3-figure consulting business. It's actually getting paid the first time. And actually, this is the biggest step that just about anyone gets over, and I had to get over too. Back in 2006 when I left the Marine Corps, I was alone and afraid in the world and really didn't actually know where to start or what to start with. And I had some really great advice from a guy who was a speaker who just said, hey, just go start speaking at local events. And I started speaking at local events, and next thing you know, my first client I actually had was a $2,500 client. So the first thing I'll say, kind of the first step really, is to get over the hurdle of being this nonprofit consultant that I talk about. So when I mean nonprofit consultant, I don't mean you consult nonprofits. I mean you don't make money.
Yeah.
And so all of us as business owners, we always undervalue our knowledge, our experience, our time, our expertise, or our story. The ability to look at someone in the eye and help them with whatever their problem is, even if it's a topic that they know more about than you. And to be able to help them you deserve to get paid for the work that you do in the world, and you deserve to get paid well in certain cases to be able to do that. So getting over that hurdle. And so a lot of times what I'll tell folks that I work with who are building websites or building Facebook funnels, or they're building, they want to get people into a consultative call, is I'm just go out and close the first deal. Go out and close the first deal.
Yeah. Excellent. So how many years was it when you first started? You said you started in 2006, and I don't recall the exact year when I first noticed you when you came on stage or started working with
Yeah.
Mike. So, but what was that time frame? How long had it been from 2006 to the time you started working with Mike? And who were some of the people that you learned from during that time, as well as the peers, like some of the people that you came up through the business with?
Yeah, good. Great question. Thank you. So I started working with Mike about 4.5 years ago. And interestingly, I sat down. This is back when Mike was just getting into his cancer treatment. And I sat down with him on the back of his boat, which actually became my boat eventually. And I was sitting there with him, and I said, hey, man, I'll come in and help you out, and I'll give you 3 months. And it's funny because he and I were just talking about that conversation back then, which would have been 2011, 2012. I think it was 2012. Yeah. Back then, I literally couldn't see past 3 months. And so my view of the world was, I'm going to give you 3 months because at about 3 months is when I will be so rich and so famous that I won't possibly be able to do anything else. And I've developed a little bit of a longer-term view of things since then. But I told Mike the other day, I'm like, man, that was like the longest 3 months of my life. It's now been 4.5 years that we were working together. But when I got out of the Marine Corps, so I don't do anything slow and I don't do anything half-assed, if I could just say that on the show.
Sure.
And so if you're going to do something, do it. If you're not going to do something, don't do it. That's just generally my rule. And so if I get into something, I am going to try to be the best at it, and I'm going to try to break into the top 5% if I can as quickly as possible. And it's been my experience that you can do that typically with any topic, I don't care what it is, in less than a year with diligent study and focus. And so when I got out, I decided I was going to be a great speaker and I was going to understand business. So I started reading. At the time, one of my first mentors was a guy named Perry Marshall, who is now a really great friend of mine, Google AdWords expert, really super sharp marketing mind, very asymmetric. I started reading and studying Dan Kennedy, which, interestingly, I'm actually speaking with Mike at their event next week in San Antonio, emceeing the whole event, which is going to be awesome. I started studying like the old time, like Jay Abraham and the folks like Claude Hopkins, who wrote a book back in the 1920s called Scientific Advertising. The library that I developed, I think it was Jim Rohn who said, if you want to know how wealthy a person is, look at their office. If they've got a really big TV, chances are they're poor, and if they have a really big library, chances are they're pretty wealthy. And I developed a really extensive marketing library of products and books, and I was voracious. I spent a lot of time learning and growing and implementing what I learned in those times. And so I always recommend to folks, I'm like, if you want to do something, you can do it very quickly as long as you're willing to focus some diligent time, maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day on almost anything you can accomplish, just about anything. But the problem is a lot of times we start something and then we jump off to something else, and we really never give time to the thing that we want to. So there.
So who are some of the peers that you grew up through the business with, from 2006 to 2012? I think you mentioned some of them to me, and I recognize their names immediately. So just who are some of the people that you've connected with and worked with during that time frame when you were just getting started?
Yeah, I mean, the coaching folks, so I did coach with Perry Marshall. I coached with Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer. Bill Glazer, who is Dan Kennedy's business partner, if you're familiar with that organization, GKIC, is actually Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle. Bill was hugely influential with me. Not only is Bill, I consider a friend, but also a very ethical, purposeful marketer. So he was really good at marketing, but he also brought an ethic to it, which I really appreciated. Yeah. And it's really one of the first people. I mean, we had a coaching day one day, Bill and I, where we had like a 15-minute argument to see who was the bigger Boy Scout, basically, in marketing. I have for those of you who've been around me and have worked with me, know that I am a go-getter marketer. I don't no holds barred. I really want to put a product in the marketplace and really aggressively market it, do a great job of that. But at the same time, I want to do it with an ethical foundation that I could do it for 20 years. And so a lot of times marketers do things for like 6 months and they'll do kind of push the ethical limits. But if you want to do something for 20 years, you really need to follow a set of ethical boundaries and guidelines that's super core and important. And so Bill was really one of the guys that helped me kind of discern and kind of think through that. Man, I've really studied under a lot of people and almost anyone. There aren't many people that I wouldn't go to for advice. Right. And as you're watching the show, I mean, it's something to think about. It's like, are you being cheap on your way to success? Are you reading a bunch of blogs and not really moving forward to work with somebody intimately or one-on-one? And those relationships not only were they great for me personally, but they were accelerators. In other words, I took like 6 years of learning and put it into 1 year and accelerated really quickly because of those relationships as well.
Yeah, and that's one great piece of advice I learned from you, as well as some other coaches, is not being cheap on your way to success.
It'll be cheap on your way to success. Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're not just saying that, we're living that. I mean, Mike and I, if I had to run the numbers this year, probably $150,000 combined in terms of our investment in ourselves.
Right.
And that's across the board, coaches, consultants, people to come in, help us with Facebook and things that we want to learn more about, coaching programs like, for example, Dan Sullivan, who I mentioned, both Mike and I are in strategic coach. That's $40,000 just right there, just for the two of us. And so we're serious about this, but we're serious about it because God put us on this earth for a certain period of time, and you can accomplish your goals in 20 years or you can do it in 2 years. It just depends on how willing you are to invest and move forward with speed with really good advice.
Excellent. So if you guys are just joining me, I'm speaking with my coach, mentor, and good friend, Ed Rush. He's a speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, and a successful business consultant who has effectively taken the principles that he learned flying F-18 fighter jets faster than the speed of sound and translated them into good business. Ed's helped tens of thousands of event attendees and clients get more done in less time with less waste, not only giving clients the insights they need to grow, but gifting them the power of implementation to change their business for better and for good. So if you have any questions or comments for Ed, just type them in the chat and we'll try to get to them throughout the show. And if we can't, we'll answer them afterwards. So I just want to do some shout outs.
Man, I'll do a couple too. Andy, I see you. Sufun, I see you. Nabi Kleiman, what's going on, man? And Howie Benner, friend from back in the old Philly days. So Howie, good to see you, man, with the Philadelphia Eagles logo right there on your Facebook page. So go Excellent. Eagles, go.
And Kelly Sparks joined us as well as Chris Miller. So welcome to the show, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the chat, and we'll try to get to them throughout the show. So Ed, what was the first business that you built that did over $100,000?
Great.
How long did it take? And then what was the first business you built that did over $1 million, and how long did that one take?
Good, interesting. Okay, great question. So first of all, I'll tell you both the businesses. How long it took was fairly quick for normal standards, but too long for me at the time. And it's an interesting lesson, and I'll sort of roll this lesson up into both of these businesses. But Tony Robbins is the one that said, most of us overestimate what we can do in a year, underestimate what we can do in 3 years. And I'd love for you to think about that as I tell these stories. We are, as marketers, we are super susceptible, I think, to a marketing message that goes like this: click a button and make $1 million. And I've seen messages like that. I've seen speakers out there who have literally had an audience act like they're typing and go, come on, type. Now, look, you can make $1 million. I watched someone do that. And so I want you to be careful with that short-term viewpoint. At the same time, I want you to think in terms of how can I implement fast and balance both those off each other. But look at about 3 years and see what you can accomplish in 3 years. It's absolutely amazing with a consistent and diligent approach to branding and marketing. Now, my first business, when I got out of the Marine Corps in 2006, I actually wrote a book on how to become a fighter pilot. That original book started out, I was writing a book on on dogfighting tactics for gamers, people who fought in aerial dogfights as a gamer. And as I was typing it, I realized I've got a lot of classified information up in my head, and I wasn't totally sure if I could separate all that. So I just decided not to risk it and go to jail for the rest of my life. Of course, nowadays, apparently, anyone can just delete, share, classified information. It doesn't matter. Exactly. But back then, that was really important. Seriously, sideways political jab there, and yeah. I am not party affiliated. If you care to know, and so I wrote that book, and then when I wrote the book, what started happening was my customers started asking, and I started putting those questions in separate categories. And what I did was I created a series of CDs or recordings around the themes of those questions. So there were some themes on what their career looked like. I created some CDs. There were some themes on what medical requirements were. I created a CD on that. There were themes on how to do well in flight school. I created a CD on that. And I ended up taking those and putting them back into the front-end marketing and saying, oh, by the way, if you're asking this, we've got this product. And if you're asking this, we've got this. And it all came together in what I called my Fighter Pilot Power Pack. I sold that for $97 online. I had a $37 membership club. Within about 2 years, that was a six-figure business online with blew me away. I actually, when I started that company, wanted to make enough money to buy a computer. That's what I told my wife, which is about $2,500 at the time. And next thing you know, I've got 300 members that like, there, bam, look at that. Dude, you've got it sitting right there. Yeah. So that was my first business. And it was, for me, it was like I got paid to learn. It was a beautiful thing, learning copywriting and marketing and Google AdWords and how to communicate and deliver a great product, how to underpromise and overdeliver, how to deal with customer support, and how to deal with people who had questions for you, and how to have an online funnel. And so that was the business that really put me on the map, and something I'm still proud of today. I sold that business several years ago, but it really was a really amazing way to learn. And then I started several other information marketing businesses from there. And then what happened was right about 2008, 2009, I started getting asked to come into businesses and help them do what I was already doing, which was implementing online marketing funnels. And that was when when I hit seven figures. So the numbers through the years, I'll give you the rough financials. I've gone public with these, so this isn't like necessarily private. But my first year in business, these are all gross, by the way. 177,000. Second year was about 470. Third year was in the 800 range, and the fourth year was 1.2 million. Again, all gross, so that's not like take-home pay. And that is important to say. When most people say the numbers, they are saying gross numbers. There are business owners that I have worked with, by the way, who have $2 or $3 million businesses and nothing to show for that. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that was the case for me either. But what I'm saying is, those are gross numbers, and it's important as you look at your business to be able to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So my seven-figure business, though, came from $10,000 transactions. And this is the important thing to remember as you're starting to grow and build your business. So I did something successfully, and then what I started to do is start consulting and helping people. And I would bring people into a room in groups of 5 and spend 2 days with them, teaching them and building out their online presence while we were in the group. It was just fascinating back then, kind of the Wild West in the internet back in 2009. When you could put a web page up. This is what we did in the training, by the way. I would bring people in. We would build their lead pages right there and do a video of them actually right there. And then we would sit down and we'd write their Google AdWords for them, and they would start getting leads on the afternoon of the first day. It was awesome. Hard to do that now, but we were doing that at $10,000 a person. And so the point, though, is the first business was a 6-figure business on $100 transactions. The second business was a 7-figure business on $10,000 transactions. And it's important when you start to do the math on those things to understand that you can create a business that's a 7-figure or an 8-figure business on $50, $100, $200 transactions, but it's freaking way easier to build a business on $10,000 transactions because you only need 100 of those to eclipse the 7-figure mark, where if you're selling a $10 book, shoot, you need, what is that, 1,000 $10 books to you need 10,000. Yeah.
No, 100,000.
Marine Corps math, I'm just saying.
100,000 $10 books.
Yeah.
To reach $1 million. So,
by the way.
Ed, when you're looking at growing or building a business now, or you're working with any of your private clients, are you thinking scale in the back of your mind at all times? So if you're helping them, to get to that next level, the advice you give them, is it with the scale mentality, meaning that what they're going to do is going to be able to scale to that next level?
Yeah, it totally depends by the way on. I'm very where they want to go. Series of questions, I'll find out the objective. So, for example, one of my favorite clients, a $40 million a company, and he just wants to keep doing it and keep helping people, keep growing the business until the day he's gone. I have other folks who literally have a 2-year window until they want to exit out of the company and create a 7-figure, maybe $5 or $10 million exit out of a company. I have some people that literally all they want to do is do events and impact people's lives. And so when it comes to objectives, and this is important for you as a business owner, it'll start to make sense when I say this as to where all of your thoughts have been, because you never really had categories for them. I always ask my clients 3 questions to start out with. I'm like, tell me your goals in a 1-year to 3-year increment for income, impact, and lifestyle. And those 3 are really important. A lot of times, let's just say this, all the time we have an income goal. Sometimes we don't always have an impact goal. Impact is what you want to create in the world, what kind of change you want to see. Yeah. Like you've heard Mike Koenig talk about his goal of creating a million millionaires or $1 million million-dollar entrepreneurs. and then and think and pray every single week. That's almost a non-negotiable for me. And so when you're thinking through what a business owner wants to do, it's always those things: income, impact, lifestyle. And then from those, you can help them start to develop a plan around that. Again, some people want to shoot the moon and create a $200 million company. Some people would be happy with $500,000, but they only work maybe 2.5 days a week and create autonomy. So that's really up to you as the business owner as to getting clear on what you want. And that's for you to answer, and not for the latest person on a webcast to tell you what you want either.
Excellent. So if you're just joining us, I'm speaking with my coach, mentor, and good friend, Ed Rush. He's a speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, and successful business consultant who is effectively taking the principles that he learned flying F-18 fighter jets faster than the speed of sound and translated them into good business. Ed is a sought-after speaker, bringing his dynamic gifts to the stage in engaging ways that make his clients look great. Ed also serves as a secret weapon with over 300 companies, and he's been brought in to help them increase profit and decrease waste, consulting them with honesty and effectiveness. So if you guys have any questions for Ed, just leave them in the comments, and we'll try to get to them throughout the show.
Yeah. Welcome to Frank, by the way. Just joined us. Frank was in here for a recent coaching day with one of his clients. So we went through those questions actually just recently.
Excellent. So welcome, Frank. And if you haven't done so already, please like, love, share this video on your Facebook feed and in any Facebook business groups that you're associated with.
Exactly.
We definitely appreciate it. So Ed, obviously you were very successful before you jumped in and helped Mike out while he was going through his cancer to keep his business running. How much has that impacted your life and your business? Or how much has your business or life changed working alongside Mike? Has it enabled you to get your message to a larger audience? So what's the end result?
Well, okay, so and a lot of things, all good. So a really interesting thing happened, and we're talking about Mike Koenigs, by the way. If you're just joining us and you don't know who Mike is, we're talking about Mike Koenigs, 10 times #1 best-selling author, creator of Trafficizer, Instant Customer, really my partner in the work that we do. If you come to our webcast, you typically see us standing right next to each other on this very same set that I'm on right now. So Mike and I came together, two very, very similar but different people, and I'll explain what I mean by similar, and created something totally different out of the two, and I'll explain the magic behind that, I think, in a second. But if you've ever taken the Kolbe assessment, so Kolbe is an assessment of basically how you operate in a work environment. It's not like introvert, extrovert. It's more like fast start versus a sustainer versus where you are in fact finding. Mike and I have literally within 1 point identical scores on Kolbe. We're very high quick start, very entrepreneurial, very innovative, not all that great with long-term follow-through. So like if you gave Mike and I a job to sit down and like call 10 people every single day at 9 o'clock in the morning, by the third day we would both be ready to like jump off of the top of the building. Whereas there's other people that would do that every single day and find value and love the fact that it feels new to them. Everyone's different, right? And so what happened is we came together, two very entrepreneurial, innovative people without a lot of follow-through, and together we actually created a business environment where we have a long-term view and a lot of follow-through, but it was through us recognizing this is what we need and the discipline to follow through with it. And so one of the things that I really love about what we've been able to create together is something that has great value, I think, long-term outside of the software that Mike used to have. The second thing is obviously Mike gave me a great platform. So he invited me to events, allowed me to speak, allowed me an access level to the people who are following him that required a lot of trust. And so most people who do seminars would not have done that, just so you know. Most people wouldn't have just brought somebody on board and allowed them as much time on stage as he has with me. It required a great deal of trust. That I wasn't going to just take everybody into like, see you later, just like leave with a following, which really could have happened. And so it takes a lot of trust, which should tell you a lot about Mike's personality. A lot of you know Mike publicly, but not privately. He's not a person that's like, this is mine, I have to keep it. Most business owners are like that, where they have their little rice bowl. He's not like that. He's a very giving person, very generous person, very open, and not all that concerned with like grabbing a hold and keeping. He's got a really big view of prosperity and abundance, which spreads. So if you've ever done, like, for example, our small group trainings here in the studio, or if you come to our live events, you come to our mastermind groups, John, like you've done coaching with us, he's got a big picture and a big heart, and spreads out to other people. And there's a reason why people come to events over and over and over and over and over again, because they see that, but then they see that the content's new, and that because of our innovation, our mindset, we're always learning the latest things, like what we're doing now on Facebook Live, or using Google YouTube Live, or using, for example, a Webinar Jam or EverWebinar, which we're using really successfully right now to broadcast our message. So we're always looking at the new things with the eye for a long-term relationship with our customer, which is huge. And this is the last thing I'll say, which is a fundamental shift in the way we're doing business now, as opposed to a lot of the other folks in the industry. Nothing wrong with what they're doing, by the way. It's just a different approach. We made a conscious decision some time ago that most marketers, they go really thin. So they'll try to market to as many people as possible, but thin. In other words, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's like books or podcasts or maybe an event, but without a lot of access. And we made a very, very conscious decision some time ago that we were going to go very deep. So we were going to be narrow. We weren't going to market to as many people. We were going to go very deep. In other words, we wanted our customers to be people that we knew, we recognized, we could look in the eye, we knew their name, we knew their business, we knew about their frustrations, their struggles, their problems, but also their successes. And so, for example, if you've been watching John or anyone, our most recent promotion, one of the things that we added into this promotion, which nobody's doing, when people invest in our latest product, they actually get to come here to the studio and spend time with Mike and I in a small group, 15-person environment where we work with them. That's not heard of at the level at which we're operating in. And I'm using this as an example to show you a fundamental shift in the marketplace, as well as a shift in the way that we're doing things, which is we consciously said, you know what? We'd rather work with a handful, maybe 400 to 500 people, and really know them deeply and be able to look them in the eye and help them with their business than market to tens of thousands of people that we didn't know. Again, nothing wrong with the other approach. It's just that we decided to do that, and that came directly from Mike. It was his idea.
Yeah. So, and getting back to the consulting and coaching and consulting business, which is the theme of the show.
Yes.
I'm just trying to help our audience out here. So what would you advise people that are doing coaching and consulting or looking to get into coaching and consulting? Maybe 3 different things that can accelerate their authority or their exposure in the shortest amount of time to reach that 300 or 400 clientele that they can build a relationship with.
Yeah, great. That's great. So the first thing I'd say is whether or not you're getting paid to help people in their business, you are a consultant, okay? And so most people go, I'm not a consultant, I'm not an advisor, I'm not a coach. No, you are. If you sit down with people at lunch and they're like, so what are you doing in your business? And you're explaining what you're doing and you're helping them, you're doing it. And so most people go, I don't want to do that, but they realize that they actually are. You might as well just start getting paid for it. And a natural progression in a business owner's life, you see this in the biggest people in the world, like Warren Buffett, you see this even with really small folks, is the move from the doer or the marketer of something into a coach. And this is the escalation: coach, consultant, advisor, right? So a coach is somebody you're getting paid to work with someone. A consultant is someone who gets paid to implement something for someone. And an advisor is someone who gets paid to actually give people advice that they go and implement, okay? Mm-hmm. So a natural progression up. An advisor is where, like, for example, Mike and I are at. John, you do this. An advisor is a person that gives people advice. You get paid way, 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 way more to actually just tell someone what to do, which is a beautiful place to be, by the way. And so that's a natural progression, and I'm just telling you that progression so that you'll embrace that and start getting paid what you're worth. This advisor spot is a 7-figure spot, by the way. So if you're interested in getting paid 7 figures and having a great lifestyle, this is the place to be. Now, having said that, how do you get there? And part of the way that you get there, I always start with what I call positioning. Positioning is nothing more than a place where people are coming to you and not the other way around. In other words, you don't want to be the kind of person that people are like, what, where are you? I've never heard of you before. You want people to be waiting in line to come to you, or like super excited to be on the phone with you. Okay, so positioning is the difference between somebody saying, yeah, I have to go to lunch with this guy, and I get to go to lunch with this guy. Like, that's the difference. Mm-hmm. And it's the same person. It's just how they perceive you. Okay, so we use tools to get positioning. We use tools that are readily available to any of us, like, for example, a book. We recommend, if you're going to be a coach or consultant or advisor, that you have a book. It doesn't even matter so much what the book is about, but we typically recommend that you have a book and hopefully a best-selling or a number 1 best-selling book. Something like what John's doing here, like a Facebook Live. brilliant way to achieve positioning. So he's interviewing people like me or Joe Bovino. He's interviewing like Andy Falco was on his show. It puts the interviewer at the level of the person that he's interviewing. Okay, it's a really smart thing to do. So interviews and podcasts are smart. Things like, for example, speaking, which I love to do. Speaking is the kind of thing that gives you positioning. And if you've never spoken before, you can do it in small networking groups. And even if you're nervous on stage, nobody will even know. And it's a great place to get clients. And so those are just some examples of some of the tools that we use. But that's a place to start. And it gives people a level of, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about, which, by the way, you do. And then at that point, you can move into probably a client discussion or client relationship.
Excellent, thanks. So if you guys are just joining us, I'm speaking with my coach, mentor, and friend, Ed Brush. He's a speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, successful business consultant, and has effectively taken the principles he learned flying F-18 fighter jets faster than the speed of light and faster than the speed of sound.
That would be awesome, dude. That is now on my bucket list.
And translate them into good business. Ed helps tens of thousands of event attendees and clients get more done in less time. With less waste, not only giving clients the insights they need to grow, but gifting them with the power of implementation to change their business for good and for better and for good. Oh my God, I had a rough time reading my show notes here.
So eloquently written. I'm going to add that speed of light thing in.
Yeah, speed of light. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, just
Alpha Centauri in like 15 years that fast or something. So
just gonna do some shout outs here. Now that I'm all flustered.
And Frank Aragorn, who's like private. Frank, I'm on a show right now. He's like private messaging me. He said, I never got the code or coupon to your live event. Asking for 2 free tickets.
All right.
So,
well, you're going to give free tickets to everybody, right?
We should give.
I just decided that for you.
We'll give free things away.
So Andy Falco says, hi, and Ed, can you explain the 80-20 rule? Andy Lockwood. McCabe never shares his rice.
Because I was talking about rice bowls. So, the 80-20 rule. So here's the deal. If you have to ask what the 80-20 rule is, you're in the 80%. That's the only answer I'll give to that question.
And Lockwood again is that I have a big mouth. He's talking to me. I just let everyone know that Ed is a secret weapon. So obviously you can't trust me with trade secrets or state secrets either. So I'll just spill the beans and just tell everybody.
Oh,
man. I'm the Snowden of Facebook Live, apparently. So Ed,
there's more and more people watching this, dude. This is good news. The other way is the one you're always worried about, where you're like, you start with a whole bunch of folks and then there's barely any at the end. I've done shows like that. So good job, John. You're gathering more people as we go.
I think it's I'm doing a great job. Yeah. And my guess is not too shabby either. So Ed, you work with a lot of clients on a yearly basis, most of them entrepreneurs and lots of them being coaching, consulting businesses. What are some of the things that you specifically help them with?
Yeah, good. So most people come to me to make money. So the first thing is, the main reason people are typically attracted to come in and work with me is because they have a goal, an income goal typically, and they haven't achieved it yet. So like I've worked with now over 340 one-on-one coaching clients. I've never had anyone who has come into my office and I'm like, all right, what's your income goal? And the number is lower than their last year. So nobody's like, well, last year I made like $1.5 million, so this year I'm good with like 800. This never, ever happens, never. And so most people come to me because of that. And most people come because they perceive that they want to get there in a certain direction. So let me give an example. Like this morning I had a call with this just absolutely beautiful entrepreneur, got a heart of gold, helps people really transform their lives and heal, inner healing. And so this person came to me because they wanted to do an event, which is typically like someone will come to me initially and say, I want to do an event. I'd love for you to help me build my event. Or I want to build a speaking business. I'd love for you to help me speak more. Or I've got this product, but I want to use Facebook and Facebook Live to market my product. So most people come to me with a question like that. And what it is a lot of times, and this is a good lesson for you as a business owner, is it's a perception that the thing you're coming to me for will get you whatever it is that you want. So for example, most entrepreneur business owners, you want more money. more impact and more time off, or a greater lifestyle. In other words, you don't want to check your email at 2:00 in the morning. You want to be able to wake up on any given day and do kind of whatever you want without a list of obligations. It's kind of like a typical entrepreneur. And so typically what I do, John, is I start there. I start with what is it that you want, and then we build a business around that, and not the other way around. The key for this is most of us as entrepreneurs, we're completely freaking ADD. Like, I was joking with Andy about the 80-20 rule, but most of us, we're like crazy about this. And so we'll go to a webcast or a webinar. And by the way, it's Mike and I's fault too, and like everyone else's. And you'll see like Facebook Live, I got to do that. I got to do Google AdWords. I got to do that. I got to have a funnel. I got to do that. I got to build a website. Got to do that. I got to go speak. I got to do that. And maybe that's a good strategy and maybe not. Like, I've had people come into my office and they wanted to, like, their goal was they wanted to build a Facebook funnel. And I'm like, this will never work for your business. Like, I had a client who came in who had a company who was working specifically with people to sell their business. And he had a $25,000 program very successfully helping people exit, and wanted to build a Facebook funnel for these business owners. I'm like, you're not going to find them on Facebook. Like, you know where you're going to find them. And the place clearly, obviously, to find someone is LinkedIn, right? Yeah. Well, I had other people who came in with like, they wanted to do LinkedIn, and I'm like, no, Facebook. And so the media is different actually for every business, but the goals are really similar. And so the first thing to ask yourself as you're like, I want to build a Facebook funnel, I want to speak, I want to be a consultant, that's not the question. The first thing is, what's your income, impact, lifestyle goal? Then get someone to help you build something around that. And that's really the key of the coaching that I do. Most people come into my office with 100 ideas on what they want to do and another 100 things they're doing, but they don't know what works. They typically leave with like 3, 4, or 5 things that when they implement them, they'll achieve the goal that they want. And really, that's just taken training for me to be able to see that, and experience in working with so many businesses to see the whole playing field and to be able to help them do that. And so, again, the first thing is like get really clear on your goal and then start filling in message and media behind that.
So you'd mentioned that you work with 340 plus clients and climbing as an advisor or a coach. So you probably spend a lot of time repeating yourself, even though everyone's different. You probably say a lot of the same things over and over.
Yes.
So have you created any type of tools or systems or trainings that the clients get access to that maybe they can work on their own to speed up the process? Or
yeah, so a couple. So first of all, I talked about books and the importance of books. Mike Koenigs and I created a program, which, John, you're familiar with because you've been through it, called Publish and Profit. It's a system that you're flat out guaranteed to become a #1 best-selling author. I see some thumbs going across from folks who have participated in that program. So we just, unlike any other publishing program out there, we just tell you you're going to be a best-selling author when you use this, or your money back. We also created a second program called Consult and Profit, which is basically 3 days of my consulting knowledge put together into a product, and then we give you all the tools. So, for example, there's a way to teach someone to fish, and there's a way to give someone a fish. We do both. So we teach you to fish and give you the fish. We give you all the forms and scripts and agreements, proposals, all the words to say, the questions to ask, basically everything that you would need as a consultant besides you doing it in that system. And so, John, a lot of the things that I teach consistently over and over again, I've put into products, and then that way, when somebody comes with a base understanding of that stuff, then when we get working on your business, we can start with more of the high level or the sort of advanced marketing stuff specific to your business and your message.
Excellent. If you guys are just joining me, I'm speaking with my coach, mentor, and friend, Ed Rush. He's a speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, and successful business consultant who has effectively taken the principles he learned flying F-18 fighter jets faster than the speed of sound and translated them into good business. I slowed you down a little bit, Ed. I didn't want you going too fast, so I had to slow you down to the speed of sound. So Ed's a sought-after speaker, bringing his dynamic gifts to stage in engaging ways to make his clients look good. Ed also serves as a secret weapon that over 300 companies have brought in to help them increase profit and decrease waste, consulting them with honesty and effectiveness. And so what would someone get out of or achieve by going through, one of those training programs or your coaching program? I know there's a lot of times there's no guarantees. I mean, one thing you can guarantee in the Publish a Profit is that you're going to be a #1 best-selling author. I mean, that one's a guarantee. But what can someone expect or achieve by going through some of your coaching or training programs?
Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, Publish and Profit, that program, we just flat out guarantee you're going to be a bestseller because we know we can do that with you. And we have a membership community, which is amazing, that really supports each other. And we just have a really great product that we just know we can achieve that. Consultant profit, we just flat out guarantee you're going to be making money. And if not, send the course back. You've got 30 days. And it's a super, super simple offer. And you can just get up and running and profitable really, really fast. And so we guarantee both those programs. We guarantee what we can. In other words, like, for example, if you're in coaching, and if you're a consultant, typically we don't even recommend that you guarantee your coaching or consulting, not because you're not going to be amazing at it, but because you don't know what the person's going to do. So, for example, I've had some awesome coaching members come in, and I'm like, they're walking out the door, and I'm like, this guy's going to make $1 million. And then the year later or 6 months later, I see him at an event, and they're like hiding from me. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I got busy, and I didn't end up implementing what we talked about. So there's certainly, as a consultant, you're not going to guarantee what your advice, because you don't even know if they're going to implement the advice. And then there's other times that they absolutely do. There's things you can do, obviously, to help them along with that and coach them along and remind them. But ultimately, that's going to be on you and on them. And so yeah, I mean, the three things that we just talked about, the one program, the book program, and the consulting program, because they're program based and we know we can guarantee what we're delivering, we fully guarantee those. But the coaching, and that's pretty standard, that ultimately we can guarantee one thing, which is if you don't do anything, nothing will happen.
That's right. If you don't implement, you're going to be in the same situation. One of the best pieces of advice you gave me during one of my coaching sessions was you need to make more offers. And I went out and I made some offers, made a bunch of money, and then I stopped making offers again. And funny how the money stops coming in when you stop making offers. So that keeps playing in the back of my mind. Is it going to make some offers? So I'm making offers this week.
There is interestingly a just to hit on this, as far, because I know we're talking about consulting. Yeah. There is something interesting about the evolution of a consultant, or the life cycle of a consultant, and the kind of people that you want to work with. And this is important. So when I started out consulting, I knew a little bit, and I was offering a little bit based on my experience. So maybe 10 or 20% of what I was saying was based on experience. The other stuff was like, hey, let's try this. Hey, let's try this. Hey, let's try this. And that's more when you're implementing with somebody. Nowadays, my advice has gone from, hey, let's try this, to, so there's three categories of advice that consultants give. One is, let's try this. The second category is advice based on things that you've done successfully or someone else has done successfully. And the third category is what I call, do this, this will work. Now, as a consultant or advisor, when you're saying, do this, this will work, you are putting everything you have on that recommendation. In other words, if it doesn't work, it's on you. And so what's happened with me as a consultant is I've gone from maybe 10% of my advice is do this, this will work, probably to like 60 to 70%. And that's huge. Most people that you work with will not look you in the eye and risk their reputation and their relationship with you to say, do this, this will work. But when you do this enough, you know it's going to work and you know it's not going to work, and you know the person's willingness to implement something. And so when you say, do this, this will work, and they do it, it works. And they make a bunch more money, and they're happy, you're happy, and it really works out great. And so, as you start to grow your business, start to work with people who can look you in the eye and say, do this. This will work. This will work for you. Do this.
Excellent. There's a question that came in from Nobby. He wants to know what the difference between the consultant profit and the Top Gun Consultant Toolkit, which was an older version of your training program. The
first thing is, if you don't know what we're talking about, Top Gun Consulting Toolkit was a program we created 2.5 years ago. It's not available on the market now, and there's a reason why. And I'll tell you what it is. So the new program, Consultant Profit, has the base fundamentals of Top Gun. So we kept what's working, the 5 Ps, we kept those. We expanded upon the teaching in each one of those, and then what we did, Nobby, is we added legs into each one. So, for example, where all the strategies are, instead of teaching them, remember I said buy a man a fish, teach a man to fish, give a man a fish, right? We do both. And so we provided all the agreements, all the forms. We created 5 separate consulting models. For example, book marketing, webcast marketing, video marketing, strategic advising, in categories where for each of those we created a proposal, an agreement, a keynote, and a PowerPoint presentation for each of those. So we built a lot of, instead of just telling people how to do stuff. We built stuff into it. And then the other big difference in this, other than a bunch of extra bonuses, like we teach Facebook marketing, we teach ClickFunnels promotion. We have Mike Filsame talking about how to use EverWebinar and Webinar Jam inside of a consulting business. So we've got a bunch of extra bonuses. But besides that, the biggest extra in this particular product is that you get to come into San Diego for a one-day training with Mike and I in a small group of 15 people. That's really the difference in this program is, or the extra, I shouldn't say the difference, the extra added bonus in this program is we work with you. And we already know you, Nobby, so it's not like we're going to be getting to know each other for the first time, but we want to meet people at their level and really get to know our customers on a deep level. And so we just put a bunch of days on our calendar, and this is a big deal for us because we get paid together. Mike and I book our consulting days. We've actually gotten paid for this $29,000. So if Mike and I are together in a consulting day with one person, it's a $29,000 day. Typically, those are 4 to 5 hour days, too, by the way. We've scheduled these 7 or 8 hour days with 15 people and given up a lot of our time so that we can really get to know our customers and really help you get to the next step. Because Andy Falco mentioned this, but the 80-20 rule, I was joking about that. But our objective, and we've statistically done this with previous products, is to flip the 80-20 rule on its head. The 80-20 rule says 20% of the people are successful and 80% aren't. We want to see it the opposite. And the last time we did a program like this and took data, 87.4% of the people who participated in the program had closed a significant deal within 2 months of taking the training. And so we believe in serving and being behind our customers, as you know, and that's the truth for this program too. So that's like the short version, dude. I could talk about this for like an hour.
Just one more thing before we close out, Ed. You guys have an event coming up in February,
yeah,
I think.
Man.
December.
Let me pull up the calendar here.
December 6th to 8th, I think.
Get the right dates.
Could you just tell us a little bit about
6th to 8th,
December 6th to 8th?
Yeah, let me make sure the dates are right. Go live and profit. Okay, so the first thing I'll tell you is the website for this is yen.tv/go live. So it's yen.tv/go live. And that's the place where you're going to be able to find this. Let me pull our webcast back up here.
So we'll post that in the comments after the show.
Yes. When you get there, here's what I don't want you to do. Do not enroll, okay? Because it's going to cost you either $297 or $797 or $997, I think, for that. So the deal I made with John is I'm going to give you two choices. It's totally up to you which one you want to do. First of all, the event is – I'll just pull it up and you can see some of the stuff that we're going to be doing at the event. But the event it is like it sounds. And we're going to talk about how to use live streaming video like the one we're doing right now to make money, things like Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We're bringing in a bunch of folks that you've never heard of before who are pretty famous in certain places online. We've got, for example, the former star for the Phantom of the Opera who's going to come into the event. Pam Hendrickson will be there. Lisa Sasevich will be there. Mike and I will obviously be teaching. It's going to be different than the events you've seen in the past. We used to have a lot of panels. We're going to really get in-depth on the teaching, and we're going to be doing it live in front of you. So in other words, instead of just teaching you, we're actually going to be implementing and building these things like the funnels, like the Facebook funnels, like the live broadcast right in front of you. So it's going to be more of a workshop than it is going to be a live event. Okay?
Excellent.
So I mentioned there were two options. You can do either one of these. You can either go to yen.tv/go live, and I'll just drop that link right here in the comment box. So yen.tv/go live is one option. Okay. This and when you get there, you can, like I'm doing right now, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom and you can see it's $197, $297, or $797. Those are the choices. Now that you can totally do that. That's option number one, and I recommend that you do. It's going to be awesome even at $197. The other option is you can totally come for free. You can come literally as my guest, 100% free on the $197 general admission. This doesn't discount the VIP, which includes dinner and sitting in front, which probably you should do anyway. But it does discount the $197. So if you desire a ticket to come as my guest to this event, it's really simple. You have to email me, and I will send you. I will personally send you. You're actually sending an email to me, and I will personally send you a link, or I'm sorry, a coupon code that makes $197 zero. Okay, so all you have to do is enroll. It doesn't cost you anything, and then you just come to the event. But you need to email from me. I'm not going to be public about this. I have not posted this coupon code publicly, and I certainly don't plan on doing that on this very popular Facebook Live show with John. But you may email me, and I'll just tell you the email. This literally comes directly to me. There's no assistant in between or anything My direct email is coaching, just the word coaching, CHING at edrush.com. So coaching at edrush.com. And all you got to do is send me an email that just says, hey, send me the coupon code for the event. And I will send you the coupon code for the event, and you can come as my guest for free. I would love to see you there. It will be an absolutely amazing event. If you've been to our events before, they're not only informative, but they are a lot of fun. And that's all I'll say about that.
Excellent. So just before we close out, Ed, I'm just going to read a couple of comments. Andy Lockwood said, Ed, Mike told me to do this. This will work, about a 4-day cash machine email sequence, and it always works. It always works. He said,
like
true
our
story.
First email exchange. Yeah.
And Lockwood said he joined the VIP and he wants to request a kosher meal.
Yeah, gluten-free.
Yeah, gluten-free and kosher meal. So, Ed, that's all the time we have for today. We're a little bit over, but I don't care. I personally want to thank you for being on the show and talking to us and educating your audience. And like I said, we'll post all the links we can in the comment section and also on the notes section once we post this to the website. So you can either connect with Ed, get those free tickets, get the coupon code for the free tickets, and hopefully we'll see you down in San Diego. I know I'll be there. I know Andy Lockwood's already going. I'm quite sure that Andy Falco's going as well. I think we talked about that. All three of us are currently doing Facebook Live shows, so I'm sure we'll see. We'll be down there, and hopefully we'll see you there as well. So everyone show Ed some love by hitting that like button, love button. Be sure to share this on your Facebook page. And Ed, it was a pleasure as always being on my show, and I look forward to seeing you in December and catching up with you then. So for everybody
John
else,
McCabe, you are the man, sir. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for asking me to come and join you on the show, man. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. You're awesome.
No worries. So everyone else, just stick with me for the closing remarks. I'll be back in a second. Well, thanks for joining me on today's John A. McCabe Show, where we work with entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. Now, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, if you're someone who's looking to take your business to the next level and want to get some coaching advice, why not apply to be a guest on today's show? Now, for most entrepreneurs, we want to create a life of our own, create our own path, and do what we can to reach our own desired outcome, which is generally freedom. Freedom to choose what we want to do, when we want to do it, and with whom we want to do it. A life that's full of options and choices, where we worry less about money and more about the quality of time that we spend with others. Now, a great way to make that happen is to leverage other people's knowledge, time, and skill sets. Step one to reaching our freedom life is to realize that you can't do it alone. Working with a coach or being involved in masterminds is a great way for entrepreneurs to move their business forward. Now, a coach can help you shorten the time frame to get you from where you are to where you want to be, while being part of a mastermind is meant to bring entrepreneurs together, all with the goal of helping each other move forward with their business. Now, the second step to creating the life you envision for yourself as an entrepreneur is to implement systems into your business so you can streamline your operations, leverage systems, and free up your time to focus on your family, having fun, and the highest leverage activities in your business. You know, the activities that get you the biggest return on your time invested, the ones that truly make you money. Now, sometimes we just don't know what systems we need, how to implement those systems, or even have the time to find out what is needed. Now, working with a coach or consultant that understands, uses, and specializes in systems that can streamline your operations can help save you time, aggravation, and make you a lot more money. Now, for example, having a system or strategy that allows you to leverage just 15 hours of your time into enough repurposed content to get you seen, get you heard, get you noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device is a great example of leverage. Now, just imagine a system where you invest just 15 hours of your time, and the end result is you're a #1 best-selling author. You have enough content that's going to get you seen, get you heard, get you noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. You have a successful podcast. Now, it's automatically attracting more attention, giving more value, and generating more leads, which enables you to attract an abundance of paying customers. Now, this is also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, to find out more about the Authority Acceleration Blueprint coaching program or mastermind, then contact me via my website at johnamccabe.com or connect with me through my show's Facebook page. Now, again, thank you for joining us on today's show, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show when I have another great guest on discussing their business and accelerating their authority. So have yourself an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.